When my own son told me, "Dad, we weren't really expecting you this Christmas," I felt something shift inside me. It wasn't anger. Not yet. Just silence, the kind that sits heavy in your chest. I remember holding the phone to my ear, staring out the kitchen window at the snow piling up along the fence. He sounded cheerful, even casual. "Linda's parents are coming," he said. "We might do something small this year." Small. That's what he called it. For 28 years, I'd worked 2 jobs to make sure every Christmas was big for him. The tree, the gifts, the food, the warmth. When his mother passed away, I made it a point to never let December feel empty. And now, suddenly, I was a guest he wasn't expecting. I didn't argue. I didn't plead for space at the table I built. I just said, "All right, son. Enjoy your holiday." Then I hung up, and made a quiet decision. Because that house he lived in, with the big fireplace and the shiny new porch lights, I'd been paying the mortgage for that. He never knew. He thought the bank had given him a grace plan after his rough start. But the truth was, every month, that payment came from my account. And that December, I stopped it. Not out of rage. Not to destroy him. But to teach him something no holiday ever could. My name's Robert Miles, 72 years old, retired contractor from Michigan. I built houses most of my life, simple, honest work. My son Daniel grew up watching me pour concrete and measure walls. But somewhere along the line, he started thinking hard work was old-fashioned. He went into marketing, wore suits, spoke fast, and bought a house way beyond his means. When his wife Linda got pregnant, the bills began to crush him. He came to me one night, voice trembling, and said, "Dad, I might lose the house." I remember that night clearly. The lamplight was dim, and his eyes were red from stress. So I told him, "You take care of your family. I'll take care of the mortgage. You just pay the utilities and food." He resisted at first, but I insisted. "Think of it as a bridge, son," I said. "Just till you're steady." That bridge became 5 years. 5 years of payments, done quietly through my savings account. He never asked where the money came from, and I never explained. I didn't want thanks. I just wanted him to be the kind of man who'd remember who helped him cross when he reached the other side. But success changes people. After a few promotions, a new car and a bigger wardrobe, Daniel stopped visiting as often. He became polite, distant. The kind of son who texts instead of calls. Then came that phone call, the one that started it all. In the weeks after that call, I found myself staring at the small wooden box where I kept his old letters. Little drawings he made when he was 10, birthday cards that said "Best Dad Ever." They used to mean something. Now they felt like souvenirs from a place that no longer existed. A week before Christmas, he sent a message. "Hope you're good, Dad. We're hosting dinner with Linda's parents. Maybe next week." Maybe next week. I smiled at that. He didn't know that the next mortgage payment was due in 3 days, and that the automatic transfer I'd set up had been quietly cancelled. It wasn't about revenge at first. It was about reflection. I wanted to see what he'd do when comfort stopped coming so easily. Sure enough, 2 weeks later, I got a call. "Dad, weird thing. The bank says the mortgage payment didn't go through. Maybe some glitch." I told him calmly, "That's strange, son. You might want to call the bank." He sighed, annoyed. "Yeah, I'll handle it. It's just a system error." But I knew it wasn't. And I also knew he hadn't checked a single statement in years, because I'd been doing that for him. The following month, he called again. This time, his voice wasn't calm. "Dad, something's wrong. They're saying the payment hasn't been made twice now. I don't understand." I stayed silent for a moment, then said, "Maybe it's time you look into how your mortgage has been handled." "Handled? What do you mean?" "Just that it's important to know who you owe, and who's been helping you all this time." He didn't reply for a long time. Then he said softly, "Dad, what are you saying?" "I'm saying, son," I said, The bridge I built for you has reached the other side. It's time you walk on your own." He didn't take it well. He muttered something about pride, independence, and how he didn't ask for my help. Maybe he was right. But he also didn't say thank you. 3 months passed. Late payments, warnings, letters, all began to pile up at his door. He called me less, texted even less. But one evening, I saw his car pull into my driveway. He stepped out wearing that same suit, only this time, it looked tired on him. His eyes had lost that confident shine. "Dad," he said quietly, standing in the cold, "can I come in?" I nodded and poured him some coffee. We sat at the old wooden table where we'd eaten countless meals. He took a deep breath. "I didn't realize how much you'd done for us. I was stupid. I thought I'd made it on my own." I said nothing. He continued, voice shaking, "When Mom died, you didn't just keep me alive, you built my life. And I acted like you owed me that." He looked down, hands trembling. "They're saying if I don't pay by next month, I'll lose the house." I took a sip of coffee. Then I said, "And what have you learned?" He looked confused. "What do you mean?" "About ownership," I said. "About gratitude." He nodded slowly. "That nothing's truly yours if you forget who helped you earn it." That was all I needed to hear. I got up, walked to the old desk, and took out an envelope. Inside was a signed document, a property transfer I'd prepared months ago. I placed it in front of him. "This," I said, "makes you the full owner. I was paying it off so you could start clean. But you needed to understand the weight of what that meant." He stared at it, tears welling up. "Dad, I don't deserve this." "Maybe not yet," I said softly. "But you can earn it, by being better than before." He cried, and for the first time in years, he hugged me like a son again. That quiet moment, more than any revenge, felt like peace. After that night, Daniel changed. He started visiting more. Not just for help, but to share things, photos of his daughter, updates about his job, random little check-ins. He even started fixing the porch steps I'd been meaning to replace for months. Linda came by too, with home-baked pie and a soft smile that said thank you without words. I never mentioned the mortgage again. Neither did he. But every month, I noticed a new deposit into my account, a modest amount with the note for Dad's fund. It wasn't about money. It was about acknowledgement. He finally understood that support isn't weakness, it's love, expressed through effort. One spring afternoon, we sat on that same porch, watching his little girl chase fireflies in the yard. He said quietly, "You know, I thought you canceled those payments to punish me." I chuckled. "Punishment is easy. Lessons last longer." He smiled, nodding. "You taught me more with silence than words ever could." Now, years later, when I look back at that winter, the one where I spent Christmas alone, I don't feel bitterness. I feel gratitude. Because sometimes, losing connection makes room for truth. And truth, when it comes softly, has the power to rebuild what pride once broke. Daniel never forgot that lesson. Every Christmas since, he's driven 2 hours through snow to be here. Not out of guilt, but because he wants to. He chops wood, cooks dinner, laughs like the boy he once was. And each time he leaves, he hugs me tight and says, "See you soon, Dad." It's strange how peace can come dressed as consequence. I didn't need to shout or fight to make my point. All I needed was patience, and a little silence. Because in life, we all reach a moment when words no longer work, and only actions can speak the truth. That Christmas, my action was simple. I stopped paying for what he'd stopped valuing. And through that, he learned to value it again. So if you ever find yourself hurt by someone you love, someone who's forgotten what you've done for them, don't rush to anger. Don't raise your voice. Just step back. Let life do the talking. Because sometimes, silence is the best revenge.